Hey, it's Matt, and in this video I'm going to teach you a little bit about the electrical system. I've brought in the help of a friend of mine, David T., and he's an A&P mechanic. He's also a pilot and knows his stuff. He knows how to explain this. And we're going to talk just a little bit. This is kind of an excerpt. This isn't a full-on course, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the electrical system and how you might realize if you have a generator and alternator failure on your aircraft. So take a look at this. It's just a couple minutes long. I apologize, there's no video, so just try and stay tuned. It's only a couple minutes long. This is a straight audio clip, so I'll catch you guys later. Thanks.
What an alternator does is it steps up the voltage and it gives you those 4 extra volts. And in the system there's an ammeter which will deflect if you have a voltage leakage in the event of a alternator failure. Also in the electrical system you have a primary and an avionics bus, which the primary will feed to your starter and your alternator. Well, the alternator has its own switch, and also your radios will be fed off the avionics bus. And there's a couple different systems put into place. You also have an ammeter, which allows you to know that the voltage is constantly feeding. The voltage system is very important in flight because it'll really let you know if you have an issue before you have one. It's part of the ignition in the engine, so if you lose electricity, then eventually you're going to have an engine failure as well. Right, you're going to lose your radios, you're going to notice a difference in performance. Again, if you're looking at your ammeter and your voltmeter, which you should include in your scan, you're going to notice that they deflect to 0. Those would be the signs you would look for if your battery's starting to lose its charge. Dimming of the lights, or any kind of possibly even radio static, which isn't always a condition. Sometimes that's related to the frequency, but those are all indications that your battery could be failing. And like I said, the voltage light, especially in the 172, is just a little red light that comes on if you experience low voltage.
Does that indicate that you have like so minutes, like maybe you have like 5 minutes left or 30 minutes? Does it
it's going to vary. It's going to vary on the battery. I mean, when you do your initial pre-flight, that's one of the things that you want to check before you go out on a flight. And depending on your aircraft, which I know on a 172 it has electrical flaps, that's one of the best ways to test it, is because the flaps have the most draw on the electrical system.
Okay, so if the flap, you go out, I remember, when I go out in pre-flight, I open up the door, flip on the master switch, and hit the flaps. That's normally one of the first things that I check.
Right.
On a pre-flight, of course, before walking up to it and checking it. But so if that happens, what would you see? Just a real slow, or maybe it just wouldn't happen at all?
Well, if you've flown that particular aircraft before, you know about how quickly the flaps would extend.
Mm-hmm.
You could take that into consideration if you know that they're extending rather sluggishly, or nothing happens at all. That should be an indication that maybe there's something wrong with the electrical system. You can also check the lights, like the nav lights or the landing light, or even inside the cockpit. You can check those lights as well for dimness, or even with the strobes.
Hey, what'd you guys think of that? David T. really knows his stuff as a pilot and as an A&P. He really knows what he's doing. He knows how to explain this stuff and knows how to teach it to others. What we've done, if you like this video, you like this audio track, you like how David T. and I work together and explain the systems of a small aircraft to you, general aviation aircraft, then I'd like to have the opportunity to teach you more. We have created an entire course that covers the electrical, the magneto system, flight control system, the braking system, pedostatic system, landing gear system, vacuum system, and the fuel system, and probably a few more if I really think about what else it is that we talked about that day. But this is the deal, guys. I want you guys to have access to this system. I want you to have a good deal on it. If I want to have the opportunity, really, just for you and I to work together and for you to learn from David T. So I'm giving you access today to this program for $7, and I think this is really going to help you guys out. If you guys need to know this information when you walk in front of a check pilot, they're going to expect you to know these things and know how the aircraft works. This is your aircraft. This is what's going to keep you safe while you're out there flying along, and whatever conditions you happen to be flying in for the day. So for $7, I'll give you all these different systems courses in an audio format, and you guys will learn from the best. Click the link below, and I'll get you guys started here in just a few minutes.